Okay, so today we're going to sew a face mask, all the rage at the moment, and you never know, it might help you to stay safe. Here we have a face mask which is made from 3 layers of fabric. We've got 1 layer on the outside which is made from 100% cotton, 100% cotton lining on that side, and then in between those 2 layers is a layer of muslin. It might help, you never know, to give you extra protection. So we start off, our fabrics are a piece of cotton which is 18 by 23.5 centimetres or 7 inches by 10 inches in old money. Our lining piece of fabric which is 18 by 18 centimetres or 7 inches by 7 inches. We then have a piece of muslin the same size as the lining piece of fabric. 2 pieces of elastic which are for ladies, I'm doing mine at 26 centimetres each, and for the gentlemen 29 centimetres, as they tend to have big heads. And here we have some turning tools which I'll explain about those later. So start off with your main piece of fabric, take your lining piece of fabric and put those right sides together. In fact, I have mine run the wrong way, there we go. So you end up with a 3 centimetre gap either side, here, here, here and here, approximately. Then take your piece of muslin and put that over the top of your lining piece, like so. Pin those together, and what we're going to do is sew those together with a 1 centimetre seam allowance along the top edge and along the bottom edge of your fabric. So if you'd like to come over to the sewing machine, I'll show you how to do that. So line your edge of your fabric up to your 1 centimetre mark on your sewing machine, and that will give you a 1 centimetre seam allowance all the way down. Do a back stitch at the beginning just to secure those edges so it doesn't start open unravelling, and then at the end. And then do the same on the other edge of your fabric. So along the top edge and along the bottom edge of your fabric. And then take your pins out and turn this through to the right side so you have the wrong sides of your fabric together, like so. And then take this to the ironing board and press. So just press that bit flat and that bit flat, and then you can press it so that you've got your lining piece on this side, like so, still with your 3 centimetre gap down the edge, and press that nice and flat on that side too. Then back to your sewing machine and just sew these edges down together from the wrong side of your fabric. So that's now our right side, this is our wrong side of our face mask. Don't need to do a back stitch on this, this is just to hold this in place, just down the very edge of that piece, and do the same on the other side. This helps to keep it all in one piece when you come to do the pleats. There we go. So next thing we're going to do are our pleats, and I've put a guide together here of all the sizes. So place your fabric on top of here, and from the top of the finished edge I'm going to mark either with pins or with a marking pen. The first one is 2.5 centimetres from the top, and then the next one is 2.5 centimetres, next one is 1.5 centimeters distance from the last pin. Next one is 2.5. Next one is 1.5 centimeters, and the last one is 2.5. There we go. So remove that. So you take your second pin and you fold that up to your top pin. Take one of those pins out and pin that in place. Then you take your fourth pin and fold it up to your third pin. Take those pins out and pin that in place. And then take the sixth pin, place it to the fifth one, and do the same with that one. So you end up with 3 pleats all pointing upwards. This one I've got directional fabric, so the pleats are going upwards with this equal distance at the top and the bottom, approximately. Then come across to the sewing machine again. And sew those pleats down in place. Do a little bit of a back stitch at the beginning and the end. Approximately 1 centimetre seam allowance would be fine on that. Take your pins out and then to the ironing board again. Turn your fabric over, and if you've done a 1 centimetre seam allowance, that's how much you really want to fold that first piece over to the wrong side of your fabric by about 1 centimetre. Press that down. And by now you would have done this side as well. So imagine this side is all sewn. You would then press your pleats in place like so. Makes it easier to do the next piece if they're all sewn, pressed I mean. Press that down. And then fold that over again. The width, so you know this is wide enough to accommodate your elastic. The width of the elastic I'm using is 6mm wide. So as long as this is wider than the width of your elastic, you know that that's going to stay in place. And I didn't bring any pins over with me, so let's go back to the sewing machine. And I'm going to pin that in place, like so. No, didn't catch it. And then you're going to sew very close to the edge of that fold where you folded that over. And because you're sewing through quite a thick layer of fabric, if you take your your stitch length up to about, on my machine, up to about a 3mm length, so increase your stitch length. It will help you get through all those thick layers. Do a back stitch at the beginning and the end just to secure that, and then you're now ready. You'll do the same to the other side. We're now ready to put in our elastic. So I have here some elastic tools, but if you haven't got one of those, especially as we're on lockdown at the moment, you can fashion your own out of a piece of wire. So push the piece of wire through your hole at the edge, thread your elastic through, and then pull that through, which then pulls your elastic through. You can cut off all your little pieces, your little bits of thread at the end. Tie that in a knot. Try and keep the knot right at the edge of your elastic so that you're not using up too much of the length of the elastic in the knot, and pull that really tight. Keep pulling it and pulling it until you get that tight enough so that it doesn't start slipping. So keep pulling it that way and that way until it stops slipping. Cut your edges, and then you can pull that elastic around so that the knot is hidden in the fold of your fabric. There we go. And do the same to the other side. And then you end up with a face mask to keep you all safe. Stay safe, everybody, and well.